Hey, what's up? Wanna talk about Gyfins? Reviewing it, updating it with today's numbers. I haven't seen you in a while, pretty much since last year, first video of 2024. I know they released Dehkia, Akman, Dehkia Histria. We have new spots, yeah, I will get to those eventually, just patience. So yeah, let's begin. I'm pretty sure there's not much to point out in terms of how I grinded, because everyone knows Underground Gyfins. It's the same, you do the statues, there is nothing new. The spot just simply got buffed with this patch a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, so I felt like, hey, let's revisit it and see how much money I can pull nowadays. Spoiler, it's about 1.2 billion silver per hour. I spent 7 hours in total. They were all done on Awakening Guardian with this gear and these add-ons if it's relevant. As always, full tier for pets because everyone kinda has those nowadays. I suppose tier 5 because of the captain, and for crystals, back attack because you poke the statues in the ass. So I believe this is the most efficient set. If it's not, that's what I used. Just AP, 1 Elcar for accuracy, AP crystals here, and again, back attack crystals, back attack damage. According to Garmoth, I had 900 AP, like 960-ish if you add the self AP buffs and add-ons as well. And consumables, let's just say special attack damage, because why not? I had plenty of deep sea elixirs, that's what I used. You can just use a courage if you want. I don't know if it's worth it, the price in my opinion. I don't think you do that much damage to say it's worth it to throw 60 million silver per hour just to have a perfume active. I don't know. It's debatable. All in all, nothing really fancy, just standard stuff. I went in, popped my buffs and started grinding. Not like I had a proper elixir rotation. I found out at Cyclops later when I tried an elixir rotation. You will see in the next video that it seems to do, it matters, you do more damage with elixir rotation. So maybe you can try those if you want, but according to Garmoth, the AP cap here is 830, at least soft cap 70%. So AP still matters, but I'm rambling, right? Those were the buffs, that's what I did. The only thing I can point out in terms of what I noticed, I guess nowadays, because they drop more trash, that was the main buff, right? Just monsters drop more trash, so that's noticeable. You get overweight faster. I had to, let's just say I was at the limit of using my maids, so I don't have to go to my horse to drop trash. Still not very convenient. And the butchers, I guess you get more of those. Maybe just because I grind faster. I finally have the gear to be here compared to any other point in the past. I guess I finally have the correct gear score to be here and to get the expected numbers out of it. So yeah, let's look at some numbers. First, Garmoth, because why not? Average about 30,000 trash per hour. I did have some hours worse, some, well, the best one, funny enough, the best one was my very first hour. I guess this is where I tried the hardest, or maybe the despair spawned faster. I should mention for every single one of these, I started just fresh. Every hour was fresh, which it seems to be detrimental here because it takes 10 minutes for the first despair to spawn. So for the first wave of monsters to spawn, you pretty much can double the trash you get from the first 10 minutes if you have a despair active. So all of these, instead of 30,000, they could be 33, 34, I think even 35,000 trash per hour if I started straight up with a despair. So it is beneficial to do 2 hours consecutively if you want, or if you can, if you feel like it, you know what I'm trying to say. Average drop rate, there was no drop rate event active, so no capping it to 300%, just tent buff. You will see later it is worth it to pop tent buff, and about 1.1, 1.2 billion every single hour. Very, very consistent, which was surprising to me. I expected, since you drop 2 types of accessories, that the money would go up and down, especially with Kafras, that it would fluctuate a little bit. But no, for Excel, big surprise, it's pretty much the same thing because it's pretty much the same data. On blue loot scroll, let's say about 1 billion, on blue 1.2, on yellow, and 1.5 on blue plus Agris. It's not really possible to grind a full hour on Agris, but theoretically it would be about 1.5. The breakdown for trash Kafras, it's not really relevant. What I would mainly want to point out from here is that, well, 255 average drop rate throughout the hours. And then let's say if I can grind faster, 35,000 trash per hour. I simulated I did the math for these 2 hours, assuming that I would start with a despair on, not just every hour without it. Then I should be able to pull about 35,000 trash per hour, or at least 34. So scaling up the results to 35,000 trash, which I'm pretty sure others can do, I'm not even the best grinder out there, you would get these numbers. So it's just interesting to look at, right? For Agris Efficiency, let's just skip these numbers. I don't even know why I still have them here. I guess just that's how I made it. But anyway, trash per hour, 32,000 trash per hour. Because when I tested Agris, I didn't do a full hour. I only lasted for 19 minutes. It took me 19 minutes to burn all of my Agris. I started with full, and then I was left with like 5,000 at the end. Again, it's not possible to do a full hour of Agris, and it is wasteful. On paper, if you scale it up, well, if you look here, let's just say for the first 10 minutes, without a despair, I burned 33,000 points. I got 4.1 thousand trash, and then for just 9 minutes later, once the despair started and I had the waves, I burned 60,000 points in 9 minutes. It's very interesting how it's basically double. From 4,000 trash to 8,000 trash, again 9 minutes, not 10. So that's why I said earlier, if you start with a despair, your first 10 minutes would basically be double in terms of trash, another 4,000, at least 4,000 trash, which makes this 34 or 35. Anyway, the point for Agris is you would burn 375,000 points per hour. Again, impossible. You do loot everything, I think. Monsters drop different amounts of trash, so I just simulated 100% because I'm pretty sure you can loot 100%. I'm rambling, but the efficiency 160 million silver per hour, which is basically double of what I got in Serendia Elvia. Remember, I made videos on Orcs and then Biragi. Yeah, it's basically double the money-ish what you would make there. It's still really bad, but at least it's not as bad as Elvia. Right, so you have that. Next would be the loot scroll efficiency. Very impressed the fact that monsters at base, at least minions, drop 2, 3 and 4 trash, which becomes 3, 4 and 6. So it's almost perfect. 1.44 scaling, 44% for the blue loot scroll, and then I bumped this up to 46 for the math because let's just say the big statues drop a lot more trash. If from the minions you get 44% and then the statues and the butcher drop more trash, which should ideally be perfect 50% scaling, then maybe 46 sounds about right. 45 or 46 is where it should be for blue. Plugging in the numbers, the yellow loot scroll, average, run, again, you know how this works at this point. You don't really care for much here other than 69, funny, 69% scaling, which means you get 69% of the value. Ideally this number should be 200%, just blue loot scroll versus yellow. If you plan to use yellow on top of blue or instead of blue, it should be double the value, right? Because it's 2 loot scrolls, but that's never the case. In this case it's 69, so in my opinion it's really worth it. I would definitely grind here on yellow loot scroll if you have plenty. You know, looking at this number, 60 million, I kinda expected it to be a bit higher. You pay 50 to buy the 10th buff, but you make 60 instead. It kind of makes sense because you make a lot of money here from trash, not from rare items, and especially because Caphras dropped in price a lot, but it's still worth it to buy a 10th buff. Nowadays that seems to be the case for every spot, just because of the inflation in BDO. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 6 months PA decides to make it more expensive, like 100 million silver for the 50% 10th buff. What else is left? Experience? Yeah, let's talk about experience. Once again, work in progress. This chart, someday in the future I will finish it when I get to put enough time to continue the big project. I did retest Gyfins for today. I removed the other entries. I was asked in the past, what is this? This is Bloody Monastery done by Nethrax on his Megu, just faster than I can grind it. Again, keep in mind, since all of these were tested over the past 8 months or something, the speeds are not up to date. You could grind all of these much faster after the class buffs and all of the buffs we got during the past half a year. But anyway, the point is, Gyfins, everyone knows it's basically the best spot in the game for experience. Gyfins normal, Gyfins starting with a despair. I'm not saying any new facts, it is the best spot. Obviously you should use experience scrolls here every time you come, because where else would you level up, right? Where else would you get level 66? I don't know if I should be confident enough to say Gyfin is the best one for experience, just because this is the list of untested areas and it includes all of the Lukita spots and most of the Dehkia spots. So maybe one of those is surprisingly broken experience, but I don't know. The only reference I have is Dehkia Cyclops, the video I'm supposed to make next, that I tested for experience and it kinda sucks. Skill points also suck, so if all of the Dehkia spots are like this and the Lukita are like that, then maybe Gyfin is still the king of experience. And yeah, that's about it. We went through everything, that's all you need to know. Happy grinding. Good luck finding a spot. I hope it's not as overrun nowadays as it was a couple of weeks ago. Basically in the first week of the spot, when it was buffed that first week, I struggled to find the rotation. It just everything was taken, because why wouldn't it be? They made it more profitable and it already is insane experience, so why wouldn't people grind here? I'm happy that this spot has a Marnie room, so at least I can grind there. Until next time, stay happy, as always. I will see you with Dehkia Cyclops and then more Dehkia spots or more other spots after that. I will start testing other stuff once I go through the stuff I already tested, right? Yeah, have a good day. Bye!